Your Steve Jones Show podcast is loading now. The Steve Jones Show podcast is sponsored by Purdy Insurance. Visit Purdy Insurance on Market Street in Sunbury or visit online at purdyinsurance.com. Sports talk where your voice counts. This is the Steve Jones Show on News Radio 1070 WKOK. Now from the Sunbury Motors Studio, here's Steve Jones.
Play action, Brown steps up, delivers down the middle for Henderson, intercepted at the 50 by Grant Haley, 40, far side 30. Haley swings it to the left, 25, Haley 20, Haley to the 15, Haley to the 10, tripped up inside the 10, and down at the 8-yard line, and the Nittany Lion defense comes up with the game's first big play. So McSorley right now with an empty backfield. Johnson near side, wing right, Gesicki trips far side, now in motion. It is Barkley to the right. McSorley rolls right, throws, touchdown, Penn State, Mike Gesicki. 3rd and 2, McSorley will keep it and go. First down, 50. McSorley 40, 35, 30, 25, 20, spun down inside the 20 at the 18-yard line into the Del Grosso Sauce red zone again. Barkley is to the left of McSorley. They bring the entire formation in tight, bunch to the near side. McSorley, quick glance, takes it. Back, throws, complete. Gesicki turns upfield 10, near corner 5, touchdown, Penn State. Back goes Brown, pressure, lobs it downfield, intercepted by Troy Apke at the 35. Turns upfield now to his left, swings it to the center of the field, to the 40 and over the 40 and down to the 41-yard line. Apke's second career interception, the second one for the Nittany Lions today, and Penn State takes over with great field position at their own 41-yard line. McSorley, back he goes, a lot of time, delivers over the middle, Barkley at the 30, 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown, Penn State, and the Nittany Lions go one play, 46 yards, and electrify this capacity crowd. Sorley on second down, gives the ball to Barkley, lowers the shoulder to the 5, determined running into the end zone for a Penn State touchdown. Saquon Barkley would not be stopped on that play. Back he goes, steps up, delivers downfield for Hamilton, reaches out, juggles, reels it in, and makes a spectacular catch on the far sideline at the 45-yard line. First down, Penn State. Brown in the end zone, back, dumps it off to Hall, hit it, decked by Marcus Allen at the goal line. Safety, Penn State. Marcus Allen with a spectacular play. Penn State's first safety since Devin Still against Minnesota in 2010. Waits, puts it down, good snap, up, and the kick by Davis is good, and Penn State leads it 33-14.
I thought our defense did a great job of making them earn it. I know there was some long drives, but what we did is we didn't give up, any big plays. Obviously the time of possession's not what you would like in the first half, but one of the things that I look at when I talk about time of possession is, did our offense have too many 3 and outs? How many 3 and outs did we have compared to how many 3 and outs they had? And really, that wasn't significant. We just had too many long drives, and with our style of offense, you're going to get into a bad situation from that standpoint. I think our offense did some really nice things, and we showed, how explosive we can be. But the other thing I would say is, there's been people, I'm not sure why, but people questioning defense. And I think that's a good team we played today. And we didn't score bunches of points early like we have. And really it came down to our defense, really keeping the game tight and keeping the game close and being physical. We'd like to get a little bit more turnovers and things like that. But I was very impressed with our defense. Our special teams, I think, is probably the MVP of the game. Obviously we did a great job in punting, and we did a great job with the kicking game. But, we said number 10 could be a major factor in the game and be a game wrecker. And I thought our coverage units and the way we punted the ball were just excellent.
Head football coach James Franklin after the game on Saturday. The victory over Pitt. And now you move on to Georgia State. But they played well in a lot of ways. So the defense played well. Special teams I thought were terrific. And it's interesting that people are disappointed in some of the things they saw in the offense, yet the offense produced 31 points in the game. It's the 9th straight game they've scored 30 points or better. They have raised the bar of expectations dramatically, haven't they?
I'll tell you what, when you look at the time of possession, Pitt having the ball 38 minutes, normally in a game, you're locked in with a victory in time of possession. But, yeah, those one-play scoring drives, it's great to be in the Del Grosso sauce red zone, but didn't spend a lot of time in there. But, boy, they capitalized when they were there.
Oh, you know what, though? It's the 38 minutes is too long. I don't mind seeing it. The way Penn State plays, if it's 32, 33 minutes, all right, fine. But 38's a little bit. And I realize that Pitt put together 2 15-play drives. One of them ended up in no points, by the way. I think they got 3 points total out of the 30 plays. Pitt did not do much that you would call adventurous during the game. All right? It really didn't. The only 2 adventurous plays that they had in the game were the 2 interceptions by Grant Haley and Troy Apke. Everything else was pretty much, we'll do an inside running play. We'll try and throw a flanker screen. We'll throw, obviously, the shuffle pass. Well, the shuffle pass was over and over and over again. Like they'd gone over to Ace Hardware and they bought a bunch of shovels, and they wanted to use all of them. And that was what they did. They didn't really do much adventurous in the game. They really played it close to the vest, which I probably gave them their best chance of winning the game. So I understand that. But every time, the 2 times they tried to go a little bit outside of their comfort zone and get the ball downfield, didn't work. So I think that's part of what we saw on Saturday from I thought Penn State special teams, they were not good. I thought they were outstanding, except for the one kickoff out of bounds if you're nitpicking, and that, you don't want a team that is not exactly carving you up offensively to suddenly start from the 35 and give them a little bit of life. But remember this. As much as I feel like the crowd wanted blood, they wanted a 52-0 game to have a semblance of satisfaction. They won the game by 19 points. And in winning the game by 19 points, think of this. Except for the opening drive of the game by Pitt was the only time the entire game that Pitt had the ball with a chance to take the lead. Right? Not one time after the opening drive did Pitt have a drive with an opportunity to take the lead. In fact, Penn State spent most of the day up by a minimum of 2 scores. So essentially, Penn State got out there, got the lead, and then took care of business after that. That's essentially what they did. I mean, in other words, Pitt was never once driving to take the lead in the game. Even when they were putting together a drive at the end of the half and trying to and they got a field goal out of it, which was a long drive. It was like a 4 or 5 minute drive. They got a field goal out of it. Well, they made it 14-3. They're still down 2 scores at that point. So they went from being down 2 scores to still being down 2 scores. And then Penn State scored to start the second half, made it 21-3. Well, now you're down 3 scores. And that's just the way the game played out. The game played out where Pitt did not have the ball with a chance to take the lead. It's never. That, in the end, turns out to be overall pretty good performance, even though you obviously, especially when it comes to Penn State's offense, everybody expects more because they have produced more. And, it's their own, it is their own success that has people questioning the overall success of the offense on Saturdays because their previous success has been so great.
I wonder if Pitt going forward, I wonder if the Panthers going forward, they may have a quarterback controversy on their hands. Ben DiNucci did not look all that bad when he came in. I mean, obviously, there's one play where Brown had his helmet come off, and DiNucci had to come in. But, the kid from Wexford.
Well, that's how DiNucci got in the game. He got in the game because Brown's helmet came off.
Right.
I said to Bill, I probably talked to Bill Hillgrove for about 45 minutes after the game. We just kind of hung and talked a little bit, and God, did he have some good suit stories.
Really?
Unreal. All right. He says, this guy keeps calling me about digital media.
You're going to say, this guy you work with, he keeps calling me. It wasn't me. Swear to God, it wasn't me.
No, he just said, this guy keeps calling me about digital media. And I said, I think I know who that might be. But we were talking about Danucci, and I had mentioned on the broadcast that I thought Danucci gave a good account of himself in the Northwestern Pinstripe Bowl game. And, of course, and Bill agreed with that. I said, moving forward, Bill, I said, he's at least got some mobility. You really have to protect Brown to make things happen. And Brown just seemed uncomfortable and uneasy the entire day. There wasn't any time during, and I told you last week on the show that I wasn't really completely sold on him as a quarterback because I watched the USC tape last year. And the only reason I watched any of his work at USC last year, I said, why would you waste your time? He wasn't going to be quarterbacking the game. I wanted to see in a couple of series, in a couple of games, what the USC offense looked like with Max Brown compared to what the USC offense looked like with Sam Darnold. So I had a gauge as to why Darnold was so successful. So that's why I looked at him. And I watched the tape of Youngstown State, and it looked a lot like the tapes I saw at USC. And I just wasn't sold on what I was watching. So Danucci may be a solution. Now, they've got another really tough one this week. They've got Oklahoma State at home. Oklahoma State's pretty good. I mean, they're really good. And Mason Rudolph at quarterback. That's a pretty good crew there. It's going to be. I'm going to be interested to see, especially the game at Heinz Field, how Pitt plays this game. And last year Pitt went out to Stillwater and played really well. I think I'll tell you, a big part of last year's game was they had a horrendous thunderstorm that stopped the game, and it felt like it stopped Pitt's momentum in the game. Now, you can't help what Mother Nature does. You can't help that. We're obviously seeing it play out on our TV screens every night for the last 2 or 3 weeks, what Mother Nature can do. But I'm interested to see how well Pitt plays in this game, especially at home against Oklahoma State. So that's coming up this weekend. Penn State's got Georgia State. Iowa, by the way, is also going to be a game that is going to be in prime time. The Iowa game will be at 7:30 on ABC when Penn State plays at Kinnick Stadium in 12 days. So back-to-back primetime games, BTN and ABC, Georgia State, then Iowa. And a big weekend coming up with Iowa, which is going to have additional significance in our broadcast booth, but we'll wait for them to announce that, okay? Right? And it has nothing to do with me. It has to do with my broadcast partner. Zero to do with me. It shouldn't have anything to do with me anyway. But for him, absolutely. Okay. So we'll talk about that when the time comes, because they'll announce what they're doing. It's really, to be honest with you, I've been involved a little bit in the periphery with this since February about this. It's really cool. So it's really cool. But first things first, Georgia State is coming up next on Saturday night at 7:30. A little prime time, last weekend of the summer football. I like it. More in a moment here on News Radio 1070 WKOK, brought to you by Purdy Insurance.
When it comes to car buying, there's the other guy's way, and then there's the SMC way. The other guys force you into a vehicle you really don't want. The Sunbury Motors way lets you take the time you need to browse, ask questions, and take the test drive and think on it. For over 100 years, the Mertz family and all their employees have made your experience the most pleasant one you'll ever have. The other guys won't offer you the best price for your trade, no matter how much they say they will. The SMC way is their promise to provide you with the most money the market shows your vehicle is worth.
The SMC way is to offer you all applicable factory rebates on new vehicles and generous discounts. Looking for a pre-owned vehicle? The SMC way checks each vehicle in a 200-mile radius to determine the lowest price, then beat it. It's the lowest price promise, just part of the SMC way. The choice is up to you. The other guy's way or the SMC way. The SMC way wins every time. Sunbury Motors Company in the North 4th Street Auto Plaza, Sunbury, and at sunburymotors.com. Selling more cars and satisfying more customers for over 100 years. Well, at least they used a touchdown this week for the highlight. I mean, last week on the highlight, they used an extra point. I just didn't think that was dynamic.
There were some good highlights from last Friday night's Shikellamy win over Central Mountain. Gabe Tilford with a touchdown pass to his brother Lucas and a couple pick sixes in the game. So,
cool.
Yeah, a lot to choose from. So, yeah, much needed win for Shikellamy. Nice bounce back. Now it's rivalry week for Shikellamy and Selinsgrove this Friday night.
All right. I assume Selinsgrove won.
Yeah, Selinsgrove won, but only by a score of 20-0. I kind of surprised a few people. Shamokin hung around first half. I don't know if I'd call it sloppy play, but Shamokin, got to give them credit. Very scrappy club, very tough club. Tough kids on that team. So give credit where credit's due to Shamokin. They're not going to be bottom feeders this year. They're going to hang tough with a lot of teams and keep it close.
Yeah, Lewisburg and Milton.
Lewisburg-Milton. Lewisburg cruised in that contest. Lewisburg will be moving on to Jersey Shore this Friday night, and Milton gets Danville.
Okay, good.
Southern Columbia keeps on keeping on. 29-7, they defeated Mount Carmel.
I mean, all the intrigue out of the Danville season's gone after last year.
Danville's got some big boys back. They got some great kids. So they're
but you also
have
a very relieved fan base that now says they feel like they can watch the game. There's one guy last year who was driving them nuts.
Their heads aren't on the swivel anymore.
Analyzing every play, every moment. Like, well, you shut up! I'm trying to watch the game. That was my grandfather one time. Where I think I had to be, I want to say 11 years old. I think it was 1969. The Yankees are playing the Red Sox. And these two guys are standing up in front of us, my grandfather, who just, look, he didn't mince words. Will you sit down? I got my two grandsons here. They want to see the game. Oh, my goodness. Probably words we heard at the Danville games last year.
Overheard and quotable.
Over and over and over. Will you go back to the Shikellamy broadcast? But I want to tell you, we love Ferlazzo. So today I'm doing a feature, one of our television features for the Unrivaled show. I'm the one that produces the Roar segment. Is on Hector Garcia, the diver, who, along with his brother, finished 13th in the worlds in synchronized diving. So I had to go to the natatorium today, and Captain Lazy over here parks in between the McCoy Natatorium and the outdoor pool, which, by the way, I've done many, many times in the past. I come out today, I had a $30 ticket.
Ooh.
Oh, no, I earned it. It's okay. I parked in a no parking zone, and I'd do it again because I didn't have the kind of time. But, no, I earned it. I earned the $30. No. So,
Taking your calls at 800-795-9565. This is the Steve Jones Show on News Radio 1070 WKOK. Now, from the Sunbury Motor Studio, here's Steve Jones.
You just made me Mr. Ham, Sean. He just told me, Sean, he's bitter at you for that.
Oh.
No,
we'll make it up. We'll make it up to him.
No, it's okay because he called up. And the first thing I said was, Mount Rushmore of analysts. All right, let's get to Joe Souza, head football coach at Bucknell. Coach, welcome back. It's always a pleasure to talk with you.
Thank you, Steve. It's good to talk to you. You're on the Mount Rushmore of analysts?
No, Mr. Ham is. I'm a janitor.
Are you really? As long as you're a good one.
Yeah, and really, I always tell people, do what they can do best.
Yeah, I talked to a couple of members of my team, this being 9/11, and how old they were. And some of them were 3 years old, 2 years old, and it's amazing.
Yeah, no, it is amazing, and it's something we should never forget.
Never.
I'm going to probably touch on it just a little bit in the next half hour about the respect that they should get from all of us every year.
I agree. I can never forget it. I was actually at Rutgers. We were preparing for a game, and a GA came in and told us that it had happened, and we actually practiced that evening to try to keep our kids busy, and we could actually see the smoke from the buildings at our practice field.
Brutal. Very quickly, Penn State, the only time they'd ever been scheduled for a Thursday night game, they're going to play in Virginia. And so the talk show we were going to do with Joe Paterno that night and then fly out the next day for Charlottesville. And, of course, everything got canceled, moved the whole thing like you. We didn't see, we saw it on TV. We didn't see it firsthand like you did.
Right.
Your football team, you played a really good Holy Cross team. So for you, when you analyze the video to get a good look at it, what were the pros and cons you saw?
Well, I'll start out with the good things. We knew we were going up against one of the better quarterbacks we would see in Peter Pujols, and one of the things we did is we really limited his effectiveness in terms of him not being certain pre-snap. I think that slowed him down a little bit. We actually intercepted him twice. They did run the ball fairly well against us, and but from a con standpoint, our offensive line has to improve, and we're going to try to simplify things for them, but you still have to run your offense. And Holy Cross, I give a lot of credit to them in that they were primarily a pressure team on first downs to try to get us into a second and long. And when you get into that situation, in many cases it leads to 3rd and 8, 3rd and 7, and those are the third down you want to try to stay away from. And we were not good in converting third downs. We were 3 for 15. They were 5 for 15, so our defense did a pretty good job against them. We missed a field goal early, which would have made it a 13-10 or 13-3 game, and then we missed a touchdown late that would have changed things. But all in all, you've got to score points, and we didn't score any, and that's got to be what we wind up having to do to win football games. And I think as our offensive line improves and grows in maturity, I think they'll get better and better. And the only way to really get them better is with game experience.
You talk about game experience. Some of that experience comes into play what you talked about, that you gave them essentially false pre-reads. What does it take for a guy or for a group of people to be effective in giving a false pre-read where you make them think you're doing one thing, but then you go back into what you're actually going to play?
It takes a great communicator. Number one, Mark Piles does all that for us. But it also takes recognition in terms of personnel group, in terms of formation, and tendency as it relates to those formations, because they are going to snap the ball. And you don't want to spend too much time in disguise that you ultimately get to the point where you're one step behind in the defense you want to play. And I think some of it had to do with we got him into checking a lot. So we could show, he'd go through the process, and then ultimately we keep track of the clock too. And he's up against the clock. Somewhere along the way he's got to take the snap. And, they're a no-huddle team, but they're a slow no-huddle team in most cases. They want to make sure he's calling the right play. But when you get down on the clock, you got to call something and snap the ball, and I thought we did a very good job with that defensively. And it's confidence we have in Mark Piles, but all the guys defensively. Abdullah Anderson really had a very good game, disruptive as he should be. And the other thing with a quarterback like that who's very elusive, we sacked him once, but we hit him 8 times. And you hit a guy over a course of time 8 times, takes its toll both mentally and physically.
There's no question about that. For you, part of the MO of what you do, you want to throw the ball well, but you really like to establish your ground game. What can Bucknell football do this season once you start establishing your ground game the way you think you can?
I think a lot of it is going to be the talent of the 2 young men that are our primary running backs, Joe DeFloria and Chad Freshnock. They are very talented, and they're patient. I think that they're also great leaders and that they're never going to turn to their offensive line and complain to them. But once we get that offensive line going, it'll really put a dimension in our offense that makes the run action pass, play action pass on early downs much more effective. And that is ultimately what we want to do. We want to be balanced on first and second down in terms of run and pass. But to me, balance is a term that people use as a catchword. You want to put the ball in the end zone, regardless of what your approach is offensively. 50-50. If you can be 50-50, it's good. It makes you harder to defend. But you want to be able to put the ball in the end zone. If it takes running it more, we'll do that. If it takes throwing it more, we'll do that. But if you throw for a living, especially with our talent pool, all right, you're going to wind up behind the sticks because people know that. And when we went down 20-0, they knew we were primarily a throw team, and then they just tee off. But for us to be the team that we need to be, and it's consistent in the league, you've got to be able to establish a run game because in many times the run game, especially as the game goes on, protects your defense, keeps them off the field.
Yeah, the way I've always looked at balance is whatever it takes to score. To me, that's really good balance. But the other part I've always looked at is that I am capable of doing both. Now, it may be 75-25 one day and then flip 75-25, but you as a defense understand I'm actually capable of doing both. And also balanced defense is really important to me, too.
I agree. You want to be able to be a movement defense, but when it comes down to it, you want to be able to just stay in there and play defense, play zone over the top and protect yourself. But we're best when we're moving on defense. It's just the athletes that we have, especially in the front.
Yeah, no, you want to. It seems like to me that you like playing chess with that defense to make sure that you get them to reduce to playing checkers.
Exactly. And the queens are the. And I want to say this the right way, but I played chess before, and I wish I had like 4 queens on my chessboard because I always lose them fast.
Yeah, exactly.
I've had 8-year-olds beat me in chess. And I beat myself in checkers, so I'm not sure. That's because I don't have time to study those games.
Exactly. No, we don't have time for that. You got William and Mary coming up this week, so you're going to take them on the road for the first time, which means it's just you now, just you as a team. Now, you love having the home field, but what is it about taking a team on the road where it is everybody just relying on themselves and nobody else?
There is a really positive thing to doing it the way we're doing it this week. We're going to leave early. We're going to travel to Gettysburg College, practice their walkthrough, and then finish the trip. When you have a closed group and a focused group, there's no distractions that are normal on a college campus. And the other thing that's going to happen is that we're playing a night game. It starts at 6. So other than a noon start, which we had this past week, on Saturday morning, we're going to be able to have a meeting. We're going to be able to have a walkthrough. So it enhances the preparation, and our team has always done well on the road. I think this group will do just that as well because they're so focused and the leadership is so good. And when you're on somebody else's turf, you just got to be aware of your surroundings in terms of, the hotel is in Williamsburg. So the game books you have, your playbooks, you got to be smart about them. You can't leave them laying around anywhere. And the thing that we try to do as much as we can is make home and away games similar in terms of the way we prep. But going to somebody else's place, and this is the first time that these guys, for many of these guys, have been down there. It's a beautiful stadium, and regardless of the stadium, we try to make that land ours, and we're going to work our tails off to do that this weekend. It's I think the last time I was down there I was actually playing, and that was quite a while ago. But it is a beautiful place.
Are you the kind of now the way you travel is different than obviously an FBS team is going to travel, but if you get there in time, do you like to have them just on a Friday evening walk through the stadium just to see it, or do you just prefer to go to the hotel and you take care of that on game day? We take care of that on game day. Yeah, we do. I've been in parts of my career where we've actually done the walkthrough at the opponent's place, and a couple of the stadiums we were in, they were filming our walkthrough. So we'll get there early enough. I think the hotel is only 5 minutes away from the stadium. We'll get there early enough on Saturday for them to get a feel for the lay of the land. And when it comes down to it, it's 53.3 by 120 yards, and that's a vast expanse of green that really I'm drawn to, and so are these players. Well, we wish you nothing but the best of luck Saturday evening at 6 when you go on the road for the first time. Best of luck from us to you, and thanks so much for your time, as always, Joe.
Thanks, Steve. I said that vast expanse of green because I know my wife is listening, and she knows I'm enamored by fields. And it could be a sandlot field. It could be Yankee Stadium. She knows that I want to see the green.
Oh, there's nothing like it when you walk in. Just very quickly, first time you ever walked into a stadium in your life, or a ballpark. Do you remember the experience?
I do. It was the Polo Grounds, and I saw a preseason game as New York Mets against the Minnesota Twins, and Harmon Killebrew hit one into the stratosphere, and first experience. But just goosebumps.
Mine, 5 years old, 1963, Fenway Park, Yankees, Red Sox, Mantle homered.
Amazing. Amazing. I saw Mantle get out of the players' lot once, and he had one of those black, real tight polo shirts on, and I could swear he looked at me, but I'm sure there were 10,000 other kids that were yelling to him too.
I'm sure. Joe, always a pleasure. Thanks so much. Best of luck. Great prep this week.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Sean. You guys have a great day.
Thanks, Coach.
Take care. Bye.
Bucknell head football coach Joe Susan. Aren't we all that are in this enamored with, like Joe said, enamored with fields? There's nothing like walking into a ballpark or a stadium, or even in the wintertime when it turns out to be a court, and looking around saying, wow.
Third grade, my first baseball game. Yeah, third grade, went to a Pirates game, and it was, of course, in the old Three Rivers Stadium. And I just stood there before I sat down. I said, wow, this just looks so much more greener and sharper in person.
Oh, when you walk in, it's green. And I've mentioned it before. It wasn't just Mantle. Mantle homered right-handed in the game I saw when I was 5 and went over the screen in left field. You're like, screen in left field at Fenway. Well, for younger people, you see the monster seats now. Well, those seats weren't there until 2003, something like that. Before that, there used to be a 23-foot screen on top of the 37-foot wall. And Mantle hit it over the screen. And I never saw my father jump so high. And Roger Maris also homered in the game, too. That's how far back it goes.
Yeah, we went to a Sunday doubleheader, but unfortunately it rained, and it was going to Pirates Astros. Second game got rained out, but Dave Parker hit a home run. The crowd was so loud I couldn't hear myself think. It was so cool.
Yeah, it is really cool. Really, really cool. All right, we'll come back with more in a moment here on News Radio 1070 WKOK, brought to you by Purdy Insurance.
The Bucknell Bison play on Eagle 107.
Picked off by the Bison, up to the 40. Coming to the near side is Gold with a convoy to the 45.
The first road trip of the season takes the Bison to Williamsburg, Virginia, and a game with William and Mary Saturday night. Get ready for the game with the Bison Build-Up at 5:30 and the game at 6.
Bucknell Bison football on Eagle 107 is sponsored by Bucknell Dining Services, Coca-Cola, Coldwell Banker, and the Fairfield Auto Group.
This is Doug Birdsall. Join Kevin, her, and me for Bucknell Bison Patriot League football all season long on Eagle 107.
Hi, this is Susan Purdy. For over 85 years, the Purdy Insurance Agency has been protecting families and businesses of the greater Susquehanna Valley and beyond. Our trained and knowledgeable staff has centuries of experience, so rest assured your needs will be evaluated and met by some of the industry's best representatives. No matter what your insurance needs are, call Purdy Insurance today at 286-5855. Check us out online at purdyinsurance.com or visit us on Facebook to see what we can do for you.
Today's show brought to you by Purdy Insurance, Market Street in Sunbury. Go to purdyinsurance.com. Matt Leon from KYW in Philadelphia will join us. We'll talk about the Eagles' win yesterday. Ben Jones, StateCollege.com, talking with him as well about Penn State football. And next up is Georgia State at 7:30. We're on at 6. And then the week after, Iowa's been announced as a 7:30 kickoff, and we'll be on at 6 from Kinnick Stadium. That game, by the way, is going to be at the Iowa game on ABC. Ratings, by the way, were good across the board. Oklahoma, Ohio State, really good 5.3 on ABC. Michigan, Cincinnati on ABC at 2.8. Penn State, Pitt on ABC at 2.7. Auburn, Clemson on ESPN at night, 2.0. And Notre Dame and Georgia, I think, 1.9 at night on NBC. Stanford and USC was a 1.7 on Fox. So the ratings are pretty good for the weekend for college football. I know I've talked on here before about look, when it comes to the national anthem, look, I put my hand over my heart, I stand up, that's what I do, I don't care what you do. But you know what, I would like to see a little bit of common sense this past weekend, and for example tonight, I don't know what's going to happen tonight, but it is 9/11. Can't you stow it for a day? Just for a day, out of respect. Now, if you want to go back and do it next week, fine. But I also think that it would allow their message, whatever they're protesting, would allow their message to be more powerful if you showed respect on this particular weekend. That's just me. Other than that, you can do whatever you want. I just think today's different. By the way, also today, there'll be a slice of broadcast history. First time in 30 years, a woman will be doing play-by-play of an NFL game. Beth Mowins is doing it tonight. You know where one of Beth Mowins' early stops happened to be?
I know, right there at Channel 3 with you, yeah.
She was the voice of Lady Lion basketball on TV. So she did a lot of work for Channel 3. So I ran into Beth a lot when she was here, because they do, 5, 6, 7 games a year, and so Beth would be coming in 5, 6, 7 times a year to do games. And then along the way, she hit the accelerator and has done a lot of college play-by-play, and now she gets to do the NFL tonight. She's also going to do the NFL on CBS. Now, which game or games she has, I don't know. I think she's paired with Jay Feely on CBS. Now, tonight she's paired with Rex Ryan. It's the Monday night doubleheader, so she's got the L.A. Chargers and the Denver Broncos. And give me credit, I called them the L.A. Chargers. I didn't call them San Diego.
It's funny because I was watching a lot of the broadcasts yesterday in Red Zone. I'm thinking, I'm kind of waiting for someone to stumble when they promoted it.
Well, I'm glad you saw Red Zone. I'm glad you saw Red Zone, because yesterday I went to turn on Red Zone on my set, and I got that message.
Really?
Saying temporarily unavailable and some code.
What?
And I sat there and like, okay. So I turned it back on later because I was working on the Georgia State game. So I like to put on Red Zone in the background while I'm doing this, kind of keep up to date on what everything's going on while also doing my research.
Now, what time do you turn it on? Do you turn it on like right at 1 o'clock or?
I turned it on at 2 o'clock.
Okay, I didn't turn mine on till after 4, till after the Steelers game, and yeah.
Then I turned it on again at 4 o'clock, and it wasn't there.
Huh.
So is Comcast going to refund me 1/17th?
They'll never miss a thing.
All right.
It means more to you than them. Why,
Hey, you can refund me 1/17th because that channel's on 17 times a year, and I pay for it.
That's right.
So you're going to refund me 1/17th? Oh, it's not your policy? Gee, and you wonder why America has cord cutting.
They're lucky we're sports fans.
I'll give them one more chance. If I get that same message next Sunday, Monday is not going to be fun for the rep.
We're your home for news, sports, weather, and your home for the Phillies. News Radio 1070 WKOK Sunbury.